Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this Dopey charm. In order to make him, you'll need about 35 purple bands, 80 green bands. I'm using the olive green rainbow loom. You'll need about 20 brown bands for his shoes and the patches on his arms, 70 skin bands, 5 black bands, 2 white bands, and about 12 blue bands for his pants. I used the Rainbow Loom Ocean Blue, but you can use whichever blue that you have available. So if you want to go ahead and get your supplies, and we will get started. The first thing that we're going to be working on today is Dopey's hat. So you'll need your purple bands for that. You're going to start on the top of the loom with single purple bands, and we're going to come down from the first to the second on the left, second to the third, and third to the fourth. Repeat that on the right. You then want to take a single band, and we're not going to come to this peg here, but you're actually going to come further out to this peg. So from the fourth on the left to sixth on the center. And do the same thing on the right. And then go ahead and fill in the center with single purple. And we're going to come out one more off the end. We're then going to cap that off to create 4 loops. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We're then going to place some crossover bands. So take a single, placing it on the second peg in the triangle formation, and this is actually going to be a half double. So you want to pull it and only bring it back to the center peg. So if you can see that there. Your next one is a single double in the triangle, and then another single double, and this one will be in a diamond shape. And this is what you should have. And once you're in place, you can go ahead and start looping. So you want to go in under the capping band, grab your first band, come forward, grab the first band here coming forward, and you can go ahead and go straight up the middle. We're then going to go back down here, grabbing the first band on the top, which mine goes to the right, and then bringing these straight up. And then to the left. We can then remove it from the loom, and since these are single bands, you want to be careful. Use the back of your hook. And then take a holding hook and we can set that aside for later. The next part we're going to be working on is Dopey's ears. I have already made one of them, so I will show you how to make one. You would then want to pause the video and make a second one. We'll be using skin bands in order to do that. Starting from the top of the loom on the center peg, you're going to take a single and double it. And all of these bands will be single double. So a single double from the second center to the second left. We're then coming down from the second left to the third left, and a single double from the third left to the center fourth peg. And then come back up here, a, single double from the second center to the right second, single double from the second right to the third right, and then a single double from the third right to the fourth center. And then we're going to fill in the center, so a single double, and another single double. We then want to cap this off with a single skin band, creating 4 loops. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then some holding bands, so a single, we're going to double it, going from the second right to the third left straight across. And repeat that from the second left to the third right straight across. So you're creating an X. And this is what you should have. Once you have that, we're ready to go ahead and loop. So go in under the capping band, grabbing the first set of bands, coming forward onto itself. Go ahead and bring that straight up onto itself as well, stopping on the second peg. Go back in. Mine go to the right. And then do the left. And then go in under all of these bands and carefully pull out this single double. It'll be very tight from the tension on all of these. We're then going to release this. And then place it aside for later. So go ahead and pause the video and make the second ear, and we can continue on. The next part that we will be working on is Dopey's arm. I have already made one of them, so I will make one with you, and you will just have to pause the video to make the second. You're going to be starting on the top left of your loom with 3 green bands. You're going to come down twice. So we need 3 more. We're then going to go back to 2 bands. For the next 2, you want to take a brown band on your hook, create 3 loops, and you're going to pull that onto 2 bands like this, and then you will attach that as your next 2 bands. And then we want to come down with 2 more green bands. We then need to create his hand, so in order to do that, you're going to take a single skin band, create 4 loops, take another one, you're going to single double, pulling those loops onto there. We then want another single double, pulling it on again, and push that down. Take another one, create 4 more loops, so 1, 2, 3, 4, single double, and pull that one onto another single double. And then we'll do that one more time, so 1, 2, 3, 4, single double. And for this one, you can add another one just like we did before if you would rather have the fingers even, but this creates a thumb, so I only do one. I only attach it once there. Take another single, double it, and we're going to pull all of the fingers onto these bands, and we're going to use that as our capping band. Once you have that in place, you can go ahead and loop. So go in under the hand, grabbing the 2 green, and bring everything up to the top. And then you can remove that and set it aside for later. So go ahead and pause the video and make another arm, and then we'll continue on. The next part that we are going to create is Dopey's shoe. So I've already made one here. I'll go ahead and make one with you, and then you can pause the video to make the second one. You're going to start here on the top of the loom with a single brown band. You're going to single double, coming down once. You're then going to come down with 2 bands. And the next one is 3 brown bands. And then back to 2 bands. And then you'll cap that off at the bottom, creating 4 loops. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Then go in and loop it up. And that creates his bottom of his boot. So go ahead and pause the video and make the second one, and we'll continue from there. There's one other part that we're going to go ahead and make in advance just so that we don't forget it when the time comes. It's going to be the belt. So what you want to do is just take a single purple and create 4 loops. So 1, 2, 3, 4. You then want to take 3 black bands and pull all 4 of those, or the 4 loops, onto the 3 bands. And then just set that aside for when we loom. We are now ready to go ahead and start working on Dopey's body. So we're going to be starting at the top of the loom with 2 purple bands coming down to the left and 2 to the right. Coming down 1 on the left with 2 bands. Center. And on the right. And I will be using 2 bands for most of this unless I tell you otherwise. And then from the second center to the second left with 2 purple, and the second center to the second right. We'll then be switching to the skin bands. So coming down on the left with 2 skin bands, we're going to come down twice. And then come into the chin peg. Repeat that on the right side. And then filling in the center. We're then going to come out from there, switching over to our green bands with 2 green bands to the shoulder. And then 2 more. And then coming down the left side 5 times with double green bands. So that's 1, that's 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then we're going to bring it in to the center peg there. Repeat the same thing on the right hand side, coming down 5, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. as well. And then back off the chin peg, we're coming down with 2 green bands, and now we're going to switch to 3. So 3 bands, 3 more, 3 more, 3 more, and then back to 2 bands for this last one here. We then need to place his legs. We'll be using blue bands for that. And coming from this left peg, it's the 4th one from the bottom with 2 blue bands. 2 more. And just keep bringing them all the way down to the bottom. Repeat that on the right. Just like that. We then want to cap off this band, taking a single green band, create 3 loops, so 1, 2, if I can do 1, 2, 3. We then can go ahead and place some of the things that we had made before. We can start with the hat. The hat is going to go on the very top on these 3 pegs. If you look at the top part of your hat, we have 3 sets of 2 bands, so you want to take the first 2 bands, placing those on this right peg, and then we're going to place the next 2 probably easier just to pull them off on here. And I just lost my bands. And then the last 2 on the right. And that's where his hat is placed. The ears will be placed on the second peg from the top on each side. His arms go on the 2 shoulder pegs. Now make sure when you place the arm, if you don't place them the right way, then the elbows where the patches are will be facing the wrong way. So if you put it on this way, then his hand is upside down. So just make sure when you place them that the solid green is on the top. We're then going to place his shoes on the very bottom. We then need to create his nose and his eyes. So in order to create the eyes, you will take a single black band, create 4 loops, 2, 3, 4. We're then going to take a white, and you're going to create 2 loops on each side of that black. So 1, 2, and repeat that on the other side. So it looks like this. Take a single skin band and double it, and pull all of that on to the skin band, trying to keep it in order. We will then place that from the 3rd center peg to the 3rd peg on the left. And we're going to repeat that for the other side. So a single black, create 4 loops, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 loops on this side, so 1, 2, 1, 2, and pulling that onto a single double. Placing that on the third right peg to the third center. To create the nose, we're going to take a single skin band, creating 4 loops. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And repeat that again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Take a single skin, double it. We're going to pull everything onto that. Then take another single skin and pull everything on there. We are then going to take that from the third peg on the right to the third peg on the left, just like that. We then also need to place some crossover bands. So we are going to start down here on the first peg below the arms. It's a single double, and I'm using the green. The next triangle is a single double, and this one is also a single double. The next one is just a single, and then right here we're also going to place a single band, and this is what you should have. Once everything is in place, we are ready to go ahead and start looping. Now that we're ready to start looping, we're going to start at the bottom, going in under the boot, grabbing the bottom 2 blues and bringing them up, and stop there. Repeat the same thing on the other side. We're then going to go in under the capping band, grabbing the first 2 green, bringing those up, and in this case we can go ahead and loop all the way up to the top. We're then going to come back down, go back into the capping band. My first 2 go to the right. And then we're going to loop the first 2. And on this third one, go ahead and grab his belt. We're going to stick our hook through the 3 loops on the side. Going inside of here, grab your 2 bands and pulling this on to there. We can then go ahead and loop this one up to the chin peg as well. And go back into the capping band. Go ahead and loop the first 2 green on the left, and then we want to do the same thing over here, so go ahead and stick your hook through the other side of the belt, go in, grabbing this and pulling it through. And then we'll go ahead and loop this up. Now we want to go in through the chin peg, grabbing only the first 2 bands. And sometimes the easiest way to do that is to turn your loom to the side. And you can even pull back on these two side bands so that you can see, since there is a lot of bands on this peg. And they should be coming to the center. And we can go ahead and loop up the center of the face. When you loop here, go ahead and pull the nose through those two bands. That way they don't get too buried and they're easier to find. The nose is easier to find when he comes off the loom. Oh, I only got one. Okay, go back into the chin peg, grabbing the next two skin bands, and I'm getting some green. Those are going to the right. The next two are going to the left. Then going to loop this up, stopping at the ears. You then want to go in, grabbing your first two purple bands, bring them to the center. Do the same thing on the other side. You can then go through the center and bring those two purple bands up, and then go back in for the ears and loom this all the way up to the top. You're then going to take a single purple band. We're going to go through the bottom, bringing it through, sliding it through to the top. But before we can make our slip knot, you want to pull up on the hat and you'll see a hole come through the bottom. Go ahead and grab the bottom part of your slip knot through and pull that tight. Just check to make sure you have your teardrops all the way down, and we can go ahead and remove him from the loom. Okay, once he's off, first thing you want to do is flip him over, and if you can see, his eyes are in the wrong place, but flip him over, take your hook back through the back of the hat, grab your slip knotted band and pull it through, and then you can just pull that through some of these bands in the back to hide it. We then want to push his eyes forward and fix those some. Pull his arms out and his legs. You then want to take him, flip him over, take your hook through the single double for the shoe and pull that out a little bit. Repeat that on the other one. That gives him more of a shoed look. If you want, you can take a single brown band and slide it on and wrap it around once, and that creates the top of his boot. Just like that. And straighten out his belt. And there's Dopey. I hope you like him.